Okay, this is something we talk about a lot, student debt. The deadlines for the delayed student debt payments that have been put off all throughout the pandemic are now coming due. Now, President Biden had extended these deadlines through January of 22. What year are we in? 2022. And he was warned he better not do this again because there were inklings that he wanted to. And now what happens? Nobody knows. Now, there was rumblings about how at least some balance of these student loans would be removed, 10,000, 50,000, up to 100,000. None of that ever happened. All that really did happen was a pause button and now a restart button, which is really tragic because we had the opportunity to make lasting change throughout the pandemic and nobody took it.
Right. So this Politico broke this story last night. It says, the Biden administration is developing plans for how it's going to restart federal student loan payments early next year when the pandemic's pause on monthly payments for tens of millions of Americans ends, according to documents obtained by Politico and sources familiar with these plans. The Education Department is eyeing proposals that would give borrowers new flexibility as they face student loan bills for the first time in nearly 2 years, such as an internal grace period for missed payments, the document's sources show. Now, of course, Senator Elizabeth Warren, who had, was out there in front. She did multiple did multiple interviews where she talked about ending student loans altogether.
Now going to go vote.
So that's Senator Elizabeth Warren speaking about this. Basically, she called it like an epidemic of student loan debt and why we need to eradicate student loan debt. And she said pretty emphatically that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, has the power of the pen to eliminate $50,000 in student loan debt or federal loan debt all the way up to 100% of federal student loan debt. She held a press conference with Chuck Schumer where they stood out there. I mean, this was a pretty big moment where she was with Chuck Schumer saying, hey, we need to eliminate student loan debt. And Chuck Schumer saying yes. And the president we know can do this with the flick of a pen. So what happened?
But the president has been cagey about it since. He indicated on the campaign trail that he was for student loan forgiveness. And then since he's been elected, he sort of shrugged it off in a town hall saying, no, I'm not for that. My kids had student loan debt and they paid it off, and I think you can too, was basically what he had to say about it.
Let's watch.
Oh, you have it? Okay.
Oh.
Americans.
Me too.
The American dream is
now going to go vote.
Watch this.
Loans are crushing my family, friends, and fellow Americans.
Me too.
The American dream is to succeed, but how can we fulfill that dream when debt is many people's only option for a degree? We need student loan forgiveness beyond the potential $10,000 your administration has proposed. We need at least a $50,000 minimum. What will you do to make that happen?
I will not make that happen.
Nope.
Thanks, Mr. Confidence.
I'm not for that anymore.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. I mean,
it's like, okay, he's dishonest before he's elected. He's honest after, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm for it. I'm absolutely for eliminating student loan debt, transforming our country. Now I'm elected.
Checks will go out next week.
I can't do it. I just can't do it.
It depends on whether or not you go to a private university or a public university. It depends on the idea that I say to a community, I'm going to forgive the debt, the billions of dollars of debt for people who have gone to Harvard and Yale and Penn and schools. My children, I went to a great school, I went to a state school. But is that going to be forgiven rather than use that money to provide for early education for young children who come from disadvantaged circumstances? But here's what I think. I think everyone, and I've been proposing this for 4 years, everyone should be able to go to community college for free. For free. That costs $9 billion, and we should pay for it. And the tax policies we have now, we should be able to pay for it. You spend almost that money as a break for people who own racehorses. And I think any family making under $125,000 whose kids go to a state university they get into.
Okay, none of that helps that lady who just asked that question.
Joe, I got to say, you're making a lot of sense there. You're really
Yeah.
making a lot
What
of sense.
was that about? Racehorses?
Come on, man.
Sorry, Joe. But that's the truth, man. Like, what the hell are you even talking about?
I didn't say it. Why are you looking at me?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about that shouldn't be.
That's right, Judge. That's right, Judge. I don't get it. I mean, so I really can't wrap my head around this. This is one of the
I
most.
do feel like every missed opportunity. I'm sorry. Everything we didn't do during the pandemic is like, it's just such a tragic. We had all of these opportunities to make real change.
Right, and it's not even pandemic related. Like this is a stain on the American education system, right? This is a stain on America. When you can go to Europe, you can go to other parts of the world where you get free university and great universities, in many cases better than American universities. You don't waste 2 years regurgitating the same stuff you did in high school for the first 2 years. You get to start right in on studying the degree that you want. No student loan debt, excellent schooling, and you get to come out and become a doctor, lawyer, and not have student loan debt.
Yeah.
Here's
Well,
an
we did-
opportunity for the President of the United States to with an executive order, wipe away all of the student loan debt at the federal level. That's $1.6 trillion of federal debt. I'm not talking about private debt because he can't do that, right? At the private level, private schools and so forth. But the $1.6 trillion, and he's saying, we basically can't afford it. We need to use the money that we have available to go to early childhood development, early childhood
Right.
education.
Yes. So you, as a parent, I mean, the lady literally said, "We're all crushed under our student debt. We
Can't do it."
cannot sustain it." And he's like, "Sorry for you. I'm
Not gonna do
sorry
it.
you did that."
So am I. He's like, so am I. You think I'm kidding?
Yeah.
Right.
I've got lots
Well-
of student loan debt. What are you, 82 years old? You have student loan debt at this point? Like that should tell you if that's the case, Mr. President.
Right. Now, if that lady would have said she's paying for it with 3 jobs, and like only in America, you're working 3 jobs, paying off your $80,000 of student loan debt, you're swimming in debt. That's awesome. That's America.
Right,
very
but
much
then
American.
what he also says is, well, that's because they're choosing expensive schools. You could go to a state school, and so then what he's saying is private schools with these fancy degrees are only for wealthy people. And anybody else who dares to dream to go to a private school, you've made a bad choice. Sorry, that's on you.
Right. And then, well,
Right.
the question is, so I get that part of it. Like, okay, you went to Penn, okay, but you also went to Penn and you had the grades to get into Penn, but you didn't have the money to get into Penn. So you took a federal student loan to get into Penn or Princeton or Harvard. So you have a life-changing opportunity to go to one of these incredible Ivy League universities, but you've got a federal student loan that now you have to pay back. What does it matter? I mean, why does that matter?
Well, it matters. I mean, it's something that everybody has to take responsibility for. Yes, okay, I succumb to the marketing of like this dream to go to Yale.
Right.
Me and my family did. And so we got ourselves into debt, but also the marketing is allowed, right? It's like marketing credit cards to 18-year-olds. And the for-profit system is allowed. So everything that feeds into this is not like setting young people up for success in the way that many other countries do.
Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can also become a channel member by going to morninginvest.com/join, where you can stick it to the mainstream media and support independent journalism. We're able to bring you the stories that you won't see on any of the major billionaire-backed networks. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, everyone.